Hey guys, welcome to the Artisan channel. What we're basically going to do today is we're going to take a look at the 8BitDo SN30 Pro Bluetooth gamepad. This is made for cross-platform compatibility, so it's made for Nintendo Switch, Windows, Android, macOS, Steam, Raspberry Pi, and also I tested for iOS. This is not my first encounter with 8BitDo controllers. I've had a very good controller. It's called the N30 Pro. I've used it for my Raspberry Pi 4 in the Nest Pi 4 case, as you can see over there, and it really served me well. I've also tested it for iOS, for Nintendo Switch, for Windows, and for everything that I could test it on. I have tested it out and it worked very well. But it did not have rumble, it did not have better analog sticks, and it was made with portability in mind, which it really did well. I used it a lot for platformers and stuff like that, on trips and stuff like that. So it really served me well, and I thought to myself I would like to test out the SN30 Pro because it looks more ergonomic, has two better analog sticks, and has rumble motors inside of it. So we're going to test it out with iOS, with the Nintendo Switch, as well as Windows, and I can assure you that it works with Android, but we're not going to test it out because the latency on Android does not do it justice. So let's move on and do that. So what we're getting in the box is pretty bare bone. We're getting the controller itself once we open it up. As you can see, it's out there. Take off the plastic, put the controller over here. Controller comes covered with a piece of plastic on the buttons, by the way, just to let you know. We have the user manual, which you can read at your leisure once you got this controller. And we have a USB Type-C cable, which I got a lot of, so we're going to put it on the pile of USB Type-C cables out there. Now let's take a look at the controller. And man, this is a beautiful piece of hardware. It looks very, very close related to the Super Nintendo controller, as you can see. But the buttons are a little bit more to the top. This is a Super Famicom controller actually, so it's the European version, but it has really similar looks to it, as you can see. But it has, of course, two shoulder buttons per side, which is very nice. And we're going to test it out right now, first for the iOS. Let's test it out. So before we pair it up with the iPad 8th gen over here for the 2020 model, we're going to take a look at the back of the controller. We got a 500 milliampere battery in there. It has a Nintendo Switch mode, D input mode, and X input mode. X input for Xbox and for the iOS and Android platforms, and macOS as well. You have these key combinations to get into those modes, which is very nice of them that they put it on the back. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pair it up with the iOS tablet over here. So we put X and then start button. Then you'll have the things flashing and blinking over here. It connected to my PC, but we have to put it on sync here. Then once it is put on sync for the Bluetooth to pair up with the device, we want to find it on the Bluetooth over here. We got it here over here in the other devices, 8BitDo SN30 Pro controller, as you can see over here. But if it doesn't show up, you go to accessibility, you go to switch control, and then you go to what is it called, switches. And then you go to Bluetooth devices, and then you find the 8BitDo. If it just shows up, yes, SN30 Pro. And then it is paired up with your iOS device. Now let's test it out with a couple of emulators and stuff like that. So this controller is very comfortable to hold in my hands, and pressing the buttons, they are also very nicely built in terms of the contact pads. They're not too rigid, not too loose. The analog stick feels like a very good analog stick, a little bit resemblant to the DualShock 4 in my experience. And yeah, the shoulder buttons are very easy to reach as well. This is the start button, by the way. This game is very good for testing Dolphin emulation because it's not easy to play on Dolphin emulators all the time on different handhelds, so it works very well on Android. This controller works also very well on Android, but of course Android has its latency issues with controllers, so that's why I'm not testing it out with my Android phone. But when it comes to iOS, it is instantaneous. There is no input lag at all to be seen on this controller. And I've tested it out now with a game that uses the analog stick. So let's test it out with a game that is a platformer that uses the D-pad. So let's test it out with some Super Mario All-Stars and Super Mario World running on RetroArch, by the way, in case you're interested to know. I mostly test out my handhelds and controllers with Super Mario Bros. 3, and I already can tell you this feels very similar to a Super Nintendo controller. Okay, that was a bad one. So let me concentrate on the iPad screen right now, not on the viewfinder, to see if there's any input lag or stuff like that that I need to mention. Precision inputs are quite working well in my opinion. It is also nice and easy to press things rapidly. Oh, I just missed that one up over there. I can imagine for platformers, this controller here is really a great controller. If you're interested in this controller, the links are in the description down below in case you want to test it out. But let's test it out with the Nintendo Switch now and see if it has all the features that we are looking for. So if we want to pair the controller with this one, we go to the pair and then we press Y and start. Then we go to change grip and order. We press L and R. There we go. And then we press A. I can go over to Super Mario Kart, go start software, and then OK. So motion control works very well, as you can see, and that is the feature that I basically wanted to test out on Nintendo Switch. And also I can feel the rumble in the controller, so rumble is working as well, which is very nice. You don't need this here does not have the NFC capabilities of the Pro controller, as well as it cannot wake up the Switch from sleep. So those things are not possible with this controller. I think it was possible on the other one, the Pro Plus controller. So if you're interested in that, check out the review on the Pro Plus controller. I don't have it on my channel yet, but if this video gets enough views, I'll do a review on the Pro Plus controller as well. Now let's move on to some Windows gaming, and then I'll give you my verdict on this controller. So if you want to pair up the 8BitDo controller with the Windows platform, you just go to Bluetooth and other devices, and then you add your Bluetooth or other device while holding X and start button on the controller. It's very easy, and I've shown it off on the iOS platform already. It's basically the same. Now let's test out some Sekiro. So what I noticed from playing this game on PC with this controller is that it does not really replace your actual controller like the Xbox controller or stuff like that for this game, because this game gets very difficult to hold for a while, and the asymmetrical layout of the buttons will start to bite you in the ass after a while, because you have to put your fingers on like this sometimes, and that's kind of cumbersome. But it is a good controller, and humans can get used to anything basically, but I think that Xbox controllers for a real pro gaming is a little more comfortable, and this is perfect basically for platformers, but not really perfect for these types of games. Let me concentrate a little bit. I'm sorry, this is a difficult game. So that is basically what I think about gaming on this controller on PC. So it does not replace your full controller like the Xbox controller or the DualShock 4, but it is very usable as well. It is not perfect, but usable. So my verdict on this controller is that it is the perfect controller for platformers, for casual gaming and emulation, stuff like that. And it is very portable, so you can just put it in your bag, take it with you anytime you want. And it doesn't have those handles, so that makes it a lot more portable than other controllers. And it has a lot of features. It is platform cross compatible. You name it, it is capable of doing it in such a small form factor. And that is a very good thing and a very shining point of this controller. But it does not replace your Xbox controller for hardcore gaming and gaming that is on hours on end, because it gets a little bit uncomfortable because you need those handles, or at least I need those handles on there. But you got the SN30 Pro Plus, which does have those handles and is exactly like this controller and has even more features than that, which is an awesome thing, and I definitely want to take a look at it. But the links are in the description down below in case you're interested. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Tell me what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.